So let's talk about something that is totally changing the game in education. There's this powerful mapping technology. It's called GIS, and it is completely transforming K12 classrooms. We're talking about moving learning way beyond the textbook and really empowering students to get their hands dirty and tackle actual, real-world problems.
And to really get a feel for this, let's just dive right into a pretty intense story from Los Angeles County. This is where a group of high school students took on a massive community issue using some, and I mean seriously impressive tech.
And look, this wasn't just some homework assignment they turned in for a grade. This had an immediate, real-world impact. First responders, the people on the front lines of California's wildfires, saw what these students created and immediately understood its life-saving potential. I mean, a fire captain said it would help them focus rescues and evacuations. That's incredible.
So, what exactly was going on? Well, students at Anderson W. Clark Magnet High School saw these two huge problems basically crashing into each other. You had a massive spike in wildfires because of drought, and at the same time, a growing number of unhoused people who were sheltering in these exact high-risk fire zones. So their solution? It was brilliant and so direct. Use tech to map where these encampments are and get that data to emergency services fast. Okay, so how they did it sounds like something straight out of a movie. They actually built a CubeSat, that's a tiny little satellite prototype, and they loaded it up with infrared sensors to pick up the heat signatures from the encampments. Then, after figuring out the perfect place to test it, they mapped everything they found. And then, get this, in a crazy twist, a real wildfire broke out right in the middle of their testing, which basically proved their data was tragically spot on.
Now, the technology that made all this possible is called GIS, and you have to understand it's so much more than just a digital map. So let's pull back the curtain and talk about what this GIS thing actually is.
So, to put it simply, GIS connects data to a map. It takes the where, the location, and it combines it with the what, which can be pretty much any kind of information you can imagine. It's that combination, that connection, that lets you see and analyze things in a whole new way.
The best way to think about it is like you're stacking clear pages on top of a regular map. You start with your base map, right? Then you add a clear sheet on top that shows all the high fire risk areas. Then you add another layer on top of that, showing population density. And bam, suddenly you see it. You see these relationships and patterns between the layers that were totally invisible before. That's the magic of GIS. And here's the really cool part. This tool isn't just for super high-tech satellite projects. Not at all. It's being used to bring all kinds of subjects to life across the entire curriculum, from elementary school kids all the way through high school. I mean, just look at the range here. You've got elementary schoolers in Missouri using GIS to track water quality, and they even found a mistake in the national climate data and reported it to NOAA. Little kids! At the same time, you've got high schoolers in Virginia using drones and GIS to map and understand really complex social issues like historical redlining in their own town.
Let's talk about Bob Coulter, a director at that Ecology Center. His whole goal is to get students to really understand what's literally right outside their window. His students use GIS to trace where the water in their neighborhood goes, and they made this amazing discovery. Water running off from houses just 2 blocks apart wouldn't actually meet up in the same stream for nearly 25 miles. How wild is that?
Then you've got Chris Bunnan over at Albemarle High School. His mission is to reconnect his students with the layered, complicated history of their own community. They're using drones and mobile apps to literally map how their town has changed over time, and they're capturing data on how different people experience the very same places today.
Okay, so these projects are obviously super cool and engaging, but it's about more than just having fun in class. These students are building tangible, in-demand skills that are seriously getting them ready for the future.
I mean, look at this direct line. Those same students flying drones for a history project, they're also studying for their FAA drone pilot license. The GIS work they're doing can lead to actual industry certifications. This is all about learning how to think spatially. It's like a superpower that applies to all sorts of careers, whether you want to work for the EPA, the Census Bureau, or even be a cartographer in the Marine Corps.
And this kind of thinking pops up in some really surprising fields. Chris Bunnan shared this story, and it's one of my favorites. He had a former student who became a nurse, and she told him her GIS skills actually helped her land the job. Why? Because she saw the hospital not as this big, confusing building, but as a complex geography she already knew how to navigate. That unique perspective made her totally stand out.
So you can see, this is way bigger than just a few innovative teachers finding a cool new toy. This whole educational movement has some real momentum, and it's starting to scale up in a big, big way.
You can see how it's grown. It started in these small pockets back in 1998, but then in 2014 came the game changer. The main software, ArcGIS Online, was made available for free to all K12 schools. And now we're seeing entire states, like West Virginia, adopt it for every single student in all 55 counties.
In West Virginia, the person leading the charge was Dr. Erica Close, who used to be a geologist before she became an educator. At first, they hit a wall. The software was just too hard to install on the school's older computers. But the shift to a web-based version, that was the breakthrough. Suddenly, all 245,000 students had access. Her goal is so simple but so powerful. Give students context to the content.
Of course, you can't just throw amazing new tech at teachers and hope for the best, right? You've got to train them. And that's where programs like the one at Lehigh University are absolutely essential. They're teaching the next wave of educators how to weave GIS into their subjects from day one, whether it's a biology class mapping fast food joints or a chemistry class analyzing soil from the school's own backyard.
So when you really boil it all down, this is about something so much deeper than just technology or cool maps. It's about nurturing a completely new way of seeing the world and understanding our place in it.
I think Bob Coulter just nails the whole spirit of this movement with this quote. The point isn't just to hand students a tool and say, hey, learn this, you'll need it for a job someday. No, it's about empowering them to ask, how can I use this to make my world more interesting, right here, right now? It's all about sparking that curiosity.
And that really brings us to the most important question. From saving lives in fire zones to uncovering hidden local history, we've already seen what these students are capable of. It just leaves you wondering, when an entire generation grows up with the power to see and map the patterns of their world, what incredible problems will they choose to solve next?